Welcome back, everybody, to the South American Major here in the Spring Split. I'm Cheeves, of course, along with my wonderful friend Subi Smash. And Subi, we've had quite a interesting and unfortunate development at the start of the game. Davitrox had a bit of a PC failure and he had to go get set up. Unfortunately, due to rules and how we have to get the matches rolling at a certain time, they've been unfortunately required to forfeit game one. So Rebel is going to be starting the series at a 1-0 advantage.
Yeah, not something that you like to see happen, but part of the game, part of the rules, and, you know, lucky for them, he was able to get everything up and running because they were just a few minutes away from forfeiting the entire series. So, you know, on one hand, it's like, oh, bummer, we gave up a game to the stronger team in theory. But hey, we've seen crazier things happen on Championship Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. And one way or the other, they get themselves out onto the pitch, and a lot of faith over in Lost to see if he can pull out some wizardry and take on the three magicians of Rebel. So game two gonna get started underway and gonna open up with possession early on for Out of Skill as Davinsano to the backboard all the way to himself, actually gonna leave it for Davitrox and come up big, empty. Really probably could have put that one somewhere in the net there, but Yanks on the counterattack. Going to get met by Lost, and everything should stall out a little bit here in the corner.
Yeah, you're not going to get too many opportunities like that if you're Out of Skill, so you got to make sure that you make those count. And chaos on the back line, and Snips almost pokes that one through as Jan just going to keep things alive for Rebel, and Out of Skill break out after, you know, disaster almost struck on their goal line.
And definitely an awkward scenario there as Yanks, again, just pressing forward. He's the guy to watch over on Rebel, of course. Got to see him in the top 3 plays this morning in the pre-show. See if he's got anything else special left in the tank for Championship Sunday. Snipes doing a real nice job here, working the ball out in the corner. Astromech forced to tip it forwards. Davitrox going to buy a little extra time and float towards the net. Snips, it's a stretch, and he's going to finish the job. Great shot. And a 1-0 lead here for Rebel.
Yeah, great shot, but a better pass here from Yanks, just getting it all the way into the box with just nice soft touch as well. Makes it so easy for Snips to put that in the back of the net.
Strong start for Rebel, decent pressure, and to be honest, Out of Skill really not playing too poorly on defense. It's really just a product of finding those clears a little bit quicker, and Davinsano going to do just that, straight up the seam there in the middle of the pitch, and instantly demoed for his trouble, but now they can approach this ball from a place of strength at the midfield line.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Got 2 to go, and that's an easy putback for Astromech there as you see Jan go up. And a nice little double. I thought maybe he was going to tuck that under the crossbar, and as you saw, both defenders did as well.
Tough break there. I was just sitting there thinking Out of Skill get to approach it from a place of strength, and then Yanks just wins one challenge at the midfield line and then turns it into a beautiful passing play to set up a 2-0 lead here for Rebel. And Out of Skill definitely find themselves in a hole early, as those 2-0 leads early on in games often lead to subpar results, to say the least. As Yanks again, another floater out in the midfield in another strange situation to try and clear the ball from, as Rebel really just kind of camped out there in the midfield line.
Yeah, and I don't think the 2-0 scoreline is the most worrying thing so far in this series, and that is a nasty chip to get that ball towards the goal line. But, you know, the worrying thing for me in terms of Out of Skill is the amount of shots they've let on target, as that was just the 8th put on by Rebel, and they're not done. Here comes a 9th and a little too high, and they just continue to rip at that backboard.
They're trying to pound a hole through that back wall there with how many times they put it up there. Unfortunately, no one able to get one under the crossbar. Thankfully for Out of Skill, they get an opportunity to maybe push the offense here. Davinsano going to make a nice delaying touch out of the midfield line, as Astromech kind of an awkward clear, and Yanks just trying to hang on to the ball on transition. They're really too tightly congealed to really make something happen, though, and Snip smart to wait that one out. Transition, ball down for Davitrox right down the middle. Going to cut the lead in half and get themselves back in the ball game.
This is what we're going to need to see from Out of Skill, is the opportunities are so slim, and they make sure they capitalize on them. That is a great shot, and tough to do with that amount of time to react.
Good counterattack here for Out of Skill, giving themselves decent shot at tying things up. Snips to himself and actually over everyone. Lost going to be coming out of the corner, make a nice save and steal the ball away at the midfield line. If he can just get a little bit of help here out of the corner back into the middle, Davinsano stretch, and it's just off the mark. I believe one of the players on Rebel got a piece of that and turned it away.
And how many times have we seen this achieves where a team gets a little too comfortable on offense? They think they're just going to dominate their opponent, and they end up presenting a lot of offensive opportunities on their back half as Out of Skill starting to warm up here in match number 2, as that is just a bomb downfield. Great clear, but right back at you. This ball is just going right back and forth like we're playing badminton.
And it's all about the first player to really be able to bring that ball down and get some control. It's going to be Davinsano with a couple of touches in a row to beat one guy, and Snips quick to get things on the ground into a dribble, slowing pace of play down. Little double jump off the wall. Davinsano poking it out to the safety of the midfield line. A little help from Lost is going to float this ball high. Yanks is forced to play it from the wall, and great positioning there. Understood exactly what Davinsano's plan was.
A great read there, just waiting patiently, especially after he got that flip reset as the pass is off the backboard, but big mistake there in midfield from Davinsano. You saw wide open at the top of the box, but unfortunately side flip, Lost flip reset, canceled by Yanks.
When Davinsano in charge of buying a little bit of time there in the midfield line. Really just hoping that they can get themselves back out on the offense here, and it might come in the form of Lost. This is a tough ass going to he does a beautiful job of cutting it out into the middle, but his teammate wasn't ready. To be fair, you can't really blame him. That was quite a touch.
Yeah, you'd like to see him spaced out a little bit more, though. He's just so close to his teammate, not giving him room, and that's a dangerous one out of the corner, and great catch up from Davitrox there, and another great pass off that side wall. Oh, yeah. They're starting to heat up, but time winding down here.
Wow.
Out of skill, and he almost, and he does poke that through.
Look at the pressure here from Rebel. Astromig launched off the wall, forces Lost to jump all the way into the back and continues to bully him up through the top of the goal line, taking away the opportunity to make that second play on the ball there. Great bit of insurance for Rebel with that goal. Out of Skill going to be kicking themselves for not tying it up maybe 10 or 15 seconds earlier.
And it wasn't due to a lack of opportunity. Definitely had it here in game number 2, but as we saw, not many are going to present themselves, rather, as Rebel going to go up 2-0. And in case you're joining us thinking, wait, we only watched one game, that's because there was a game 1 forfeit due to amount of time taken to try and get this match started. Thankfully, it did, because it's looking like this series could be a heater. Out of Skill started so slow, but towards the last minute and a half, they were really changing the pace and bringing it to Rebel.
Really great looks on target. A lot of tough challenges to be said and needed to be executed over on offense, but they were getting there. It was really just a matter of getting that final attack and that last player to get that one in between the goalposts. But to be fair, you also got to look at the shot differential here. It's 11 plus 3 is 14 for Rebel, and they just had an insane amount of pressure throughout the game in general, and a lot of touches towards open back walls. And obviously that's could have just been a product of that 1 or 2 times where they really just caught them back on rotation and not set up on defense. But still, if Rebel is able to continue to find an uncontested backboard and continue to set up passes like that, eventually there's going to be more goals going to be scored off of that.
Yeah, but I think Out of Skill definitely going to, enjoy having the comfort and cushion of a best-of-7 series, because it looks like they're a team that maybe starts a little slow, and again the misread. And again, I'm going to ask Out of Skill, please just space out a little. Those passing plays are starting to look brilliant.
Spacing key on offense, and Lost didn't think Davinsano had the touch. He's going to force Davitrox to play it solo back in his own half, and you said it, you want spacing, and continues to be an issue. It's just a matter of communication or what, but there's some type of hiccup somewhere in that Out of Skill lineup, and they just don't seem to be on the same page with each other.
Yeah, Com's gonna take care of that. Look at the delayed flip. Goes for the change up over the defenders, and the change of speed throws everyone off.
There's the power of the flip reset, and just that little kiss. It's the creativity of that flip after he gets the flip reset from Yanks, flipping his car sideways so that it gets an upward inflection on the ball to tip it around that defender. I mean, that's just great intuition, and understanding at a very base level exactly which direction you need to press to flip the car as Rebel continues to press on the kickoff.
Yeah, and Yanks getting his first scratch of the ball game there, as he did get a playmaker in game number 2, and Davatrox plenty of time, get to space, but Snip says we've seen enough of that. We're going to go downfield. Here comes Yanks looking for follow through. But
wow.
Great defense there from Davasano. Nice and patient up on that back wall.
That's really what I wanted to. You got to take away that backboard option. It was a little leaky there in game 1, even if it didn't result in any goals for the opposition. But still pressure being built, and this is where it needs to get ironed out. Davatrox is able to stall it, but not get it away. Snips is going to score goal 2.
Looking lost here. Oh, caught no man's land. He realizes it, has to try and reverse, and at that point, it is too late. And Davatrox forced in an awkward position on that goal line. All he could do was slow it up, but momentum just going to carry that ball on through, and Rebel 2-0 lead here in game number 3. And he missed.
Ooh. Well, what are you going to do? Sometimes the other team gives you a freebie, and it's always the open nets that are the most difficult. Davatrox happy to keep the lead at 2 for Rebel, and transition here for Snips again, forcing a one-on-one or a one-on-2 situation for some defenders. Demo on the back line, and a double commit equals more pressure from Rebel out of the midfield. Of course, it's Yanks. Who else? Trying to force that flip reset, and Davatrox camped out nicely on the backboard.
Oh, not the greatest touch. Stromik going to slow things down, trying to bait out the entire defense, but they're not going to fall for that one. I think he showed his hand a little too early that he was going for a fake. But Rebel doing a great job here in game number 3. An insane amount of pressure so far through one half. 9 shots to out of skills. Big old goose egg.
Oh, boy. That's really what we were talking about in game 1 as well, needing those stronger clears, and finally an opportunity. They force Yanks to play a one-on-one, chopping it straight down. There's Lost, and Astromik coming back from the midfield is able to get that out into the corner. Huge stop for Rebel.
Absolutely great defense. That was the first shot we've seen from out of skill, and Lost using a lot of boost to get this ball out of his half, but that is a monster flick to get into the orange half. And let's see if out of skill can get any semblance of offense going here, as that is immediately canceled out. And Yanks, big swing and a miss off of the ceiling, but they're going to maintain possession here and look for their 11th shot.
Can they get Snips on transition here? Oh, great cut from Lost, but there's not a lot of resources to work with here for out of skill. Great defensive sequence, but just don't have the firepower behind him. We go for the transition. Lost looking for that fast flip reset, and then the instant recovery. Wants the demo on Astromik, forces that ball to stalemate there in the corner with the pressure, and I think there's a lot of good ideas on out of skill. It's just a matter of having the map positioning to try and take advantage of it.
Absolutely. And again, I think it just boils down to the spacing. Great save there from Yanks out of the goal. And Davasano to Lost, and he hammers it home.
What a shot from Lost. This is not an easy one by any stretch. Yeah, he's uncontested, but this is a real delicate piece of timing. That ball just bounces off the wall. If he's even a fraction earlier, he's going to end up pinching it out into the corners. So beautiful bit of timing there from Lost to score it as soon as he could. Maybe 2 here.
Awkward and Lost. That's a tough one as well. And you were talking about last time, Achieves, on that last goal that we saw from Lost. And yeah, the amount of times that I've hit that and it just pinches off to the left or right. You just want to... Oh, no. Great catch up there from Davasano, as they've got numbers, but great cut from Yanks there to just completely stifle the out-of-skill offense.
Oh, and the same thing. Yanks really trying to set up his teammates there for success, and Snip's in charge of buying a lot of time there. And look at Lost continuing to try and be the player to get things going back the other way. Astromik denied by Davatrox, and Davasano and Lost, you got to spread yourselves out. You need options on that transition, and you're able to beat Yanks, but what comes afterward? Answer, shot for Davatrox. Lost trying to go for maybe the fake or the shot to the back post. 5 seconds left, bouncing out around into the corner. Last opportunity here for out of skill, and Astromik going to cut that one down, and delicate bit of play required here from Lost. Gets punched off the ball. Astromik with a takeaway. Yonk's going to float one towards the goal. It's off the wall and into the floor. Rebel able to cut down a 0-second opportunity, and they now lead 3-0 in the series.
It's going to be tough here for Out of Skill to claw their way back into the series. Going to have to be forced to pull out the reverse sweep. And now the amount of reverse sweeps that we've seen just alone in RLCS in best of fives, but you bring up best of sevens achieves and
whole other ball game.
Yeah, it's less than 1% that happens. But still, Out of Skill, I've got to compliment them on their last minute of gameplay. Both of the games that we've seen, just play all 5 minutes of that, and I think they're going to really put Out of Skill in a tough spot.
And that's the hard part is it always seems to start off so slow, because when you're playing catch up and you're getting 2, 3, 4 opportunities in the end, final 90 seconds, right? You just end up with this massive shot disparity again here in the third game. It's 12-5 now for Out of Skill, and it's really just, you got to find a way to, if you can at least keep yourself within one without giving up that early 2-goal lead, I think Out of Skill is going to be in a much better position, because you can always score 1 goal at any given moment, but it's when they're having to play multiples and these double commits on defense really hampering their ability to spread themselves out and give themselves options to clear the ball up the pitch. It's really just, driving a big wedge between those players and what needs to be accomplished out there on the pitch.
And I'd really like to see Out of Skill obviously stay smart here in game number 4, but I'd like to see them really ramp up this aggression. And that's a good start, but Lost couldn't get that around Snips there, as Davinsanio going to keep things up. And look at this, right out of the gates, we've got Out of Skill pressuring Rebel on their defensive half.
That's exactly what you want to see, considering they've had a little bit of time to adjust and figure out what they're up against. Snips, though, still trying to keep that pressure going, and a blessing in the form of a miss from Astromik out of the corner means they at least get to fight for the ball at the midfield line, and indeed it's going to be Lost. He is stretching for that one. He got a piece of it, but Snip's the only one there for him. You can't blame Davitrox for not being right on top of that one, but how about the challenge? It's going to ping off the post. Davinsano, again, another float into the midfield. Snips in time to steal it away, and great press early on for Out of Skill, but no dice.
And we talked about yesterday, James Bott and I heavily talked about the speed of South America, and that was on display there during the last 45 seconds. The ball just continuing to rip left and right in front of the goal, then goes the full length of the field. And, if you're not careful, you're going to give yourself whiplash watching these players.
And now they seem to have found a little bit more stability out of the midfield line. Yanks definitely had an opportunity with that transition, but kicked that ball a little too high, and has given Out of Skill plenty of time to get themselves set here. Davinsano denied the big punch towards that corner from Yanks and Lost all alone. How do you break yourself out of this one? Answer, how about, just a couple of touches towards the goal, but Snips finally able to get that last bit of touch and kick out on it into the corner, and on transition, Lost forced to chop it down, and Davinsano rotating back on display. And you weren't kidding, that transition game is so fast. It's tough to handle.
Oh, Lost, double tap, and he gets the dunk, but
and he landed
unfortunately, Davintrox can't quite get there, as you called it. The Goomba Stomp came out, but they couldn't capitalize. And no way did he get there. Oh my gosh.
One, how do you shoot that? Two, how do you read that from Lost? That's a sick save. Davintrox stretching to force a goal, and maybe looking at our first overtime with 0-0 scoreline, just about halfway done. And of course, as soon as I say that, Astromik able to sneak one over Davitrox.
Yeah, you always got to ruin everything, Achieves.
I know.
Great dump off pass in midfield. Just catches Lost just a hair shy of getting that contest at midfield. And Out of Skill took a full half for them to get their first goal here in game number 4. And you like to see that from Out of Skill, but what I'd like to see is a goal from them, and them to send this into OT, because this is getting exciting.
Just missing that flip reset. And again, Yanks trying to get the big part of the car behind the center of that ball and just muscle Davitrox off the goal line. Fortunately for Out of Skill, continuing to keep this at the 1-goal deficit, but now they got to defend Yanks one more time. Flip reset, and then look at him just trip that one towards the bottom of the net. What are you supposed to do as the defender headed to the back wall here?
Well, exactly. You've got 2 Rebel players. If you go right, there's the player. If you go left, Astromik is sitting there midfield. So such a tough spot for the defender, and Rebel starting to get comfy here in game 4.
And lost. I mean, he played that pretty well. He followed that flipper, set up the backboard, but he's going to miss a clear and let Yanks put the lead to 3.
Disaster striking out of skill here, and such a tough shot for Yanks. Yeah, it looks like such a mundane double tap, but when you have 2 defenders coming from the left and the right, you're expecting, okay, someone's going to touch this, but just the wherewithal to stay with that ball and just follow through on your shot. So good.
Yeah, you got to love the commitment to, not getting too caught up in the positioning and just thinking, play the ball. If they miss, we're going to score it, and it's not like it's guaranteed that they're going to clear it. You got to love the commitment from Yanks, and absolutely puts a big nail in the coffin, so to speak. Some time left here for out of skill, but again, you're starting to see that shot disparity appear here with 8 for Rebel and only 3 for out of skill. And how about make it 9 and a 4-goal lead?
Look at this. Lulls the defense to sleep. Keep your eye on Astramic here. Just says, okay, go ahead, Lost, come on out. And the moment he sees him press that ball, he says, gotcha, I've got boost left in the tank, and fires on a wide open target.
It's that recognition as well, seeing that air dribble is not headed up out of the half. It's being pushed down towards the floor, and Astramic also recognizing that he's absolutely got the positioning to go and cut that one down. And thankfully for them, I believe it's going to put this one well out of reach. I mean, 60 seconds with 4 goals, and it's been all Rebel.
Yeah, and Rebel, only averaging 1 goal given a game. Great defense shown throughout this entire series and great poise, but in all fairness, they haven't had to play much defense. Only 3 shots from out of skill here, and sure, we've seen more from them in this series, but Rebel has definitely been the one controlling midfield and bringing...
come on.
You got to go with the shutout, Chiefs.
Don't even get one out of spite, really. Just poked away at the last second, and should be a pleasure cruise here for Rebel as they look ahead into the semifinals, potentially playing against, let me find the bracket. And of course I don't have it updated. But Rebel going to win their quarterfinal matchup, and they will play the winners of Furia and Carnage later on, which I believe is our next matchup. So,
yes, sir.
Well played to Rebel. I mean, you came out here, you played a great series. Yanks, Astramic, and Snips, great support for each other on offense, and they were trying to pull out the magician and show you why. All the tricks in the sleeve there at the end with everybody up. But unfortunately, 4 out of skill, that is going to be the end of the line out in fashion. 0-4.
Yeah, unfortunate end of the tournament there for out of skill, but Rebel just too much to handle in the end. But it's just one of those times where it's like, yep, they beat us fair and square, and they were faster, they had better passes, they were better on defense, so it's just one of those moments where you just have to tip your cap to them.
Yeah, it really was a quality gameplay by Rebel all the way throughout. Like we talked about it multiple times, always just positioned brilliantly in the midfield, able to cut down a lot of clears, stalling out those transitions when necessary, and really not allowing too many of them to get into dangerous positions. And even when they did, not many chances on target were able to put into the back of the net. So Rebel playing a very complete series of Rocket League here, helped along by the game 1 forfeit due to some delay, but that's the end of it.
Yep, like you said, Achieves, that is the end of it, and that's all for us. And before we go, we'd just like to extend a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers watching, and hope you guys can get out there and show your mothers some love today. But for us, Game 1 is set and done, and we are waiting for Furia against Carnage Gaming coming up next.